At 8:43 on a Tuesday morning, Anna Miller opened her banking app and saw something she had never seen before. The monthly deposit was missing. For 12 years, the money had arrived on the same day, usually within the same hour. It was never a large amount, just enough to help with groceries, rent, a utility bill, or whatever unexpected expense had appeared that month. Anna had never known who sent it. She had tried asking the bank once. They told her only that the transfers came from a private account. She had searched the name attached to the payments online. Nothing. No social media account. No business. No address. Just a name she had never heard before. Michael Reed. At first, Anna had assumed the money was a mistake. Then it happened again the following month. And again. Eventually, the deposits became part of her life. She never spent them carelessly. She never treated them like free money. Every month, she moved the amount into a separate account and used it only when she truly needed it. And she never told anyone. Not her friends. Not her coworkers. Not even her boyfriend. Because somewhere deep inside, Anna was afraid that if she told someone, the strange kindness would disappear. For 12 years, it never did. Until that Tuesday morning. Anna stared at the screen. No deposit. She refreshed the page. Nothing. She closed the app. Opened it again. Still nothing. Then she noticed something else. The previous month's transfer had been the last one. For the first time in 12 years, Anna suddenly needed to know why. The first clue appeared 3 days later. It arrived in the mail. There was no return address. Inside the envelope was a single sheet of paper. No explanation. No signature. Just one sentence. Your mother knew why. Anna read it twice. Then a third time. Her hands became completely still. Her mother had been dead for 9 years. And Anna had never told anyone about the money. That night, she went through every box she still had from her mother's house. There were old birthday cards, receipts, photographs, a faded scarf, a collection of handwritten recipes. And at the bottom of one box, underneath a stack of yellowing papers, Anna found an envelope. Her mother's handwriting was on the front. Anna recognized it immediately. Inside was a bank statement from 12 years earlier. The account belonged to someone named Michael Reed. Anna stared at the name, the same name as the mysterious sender. But the statement contained something even stranger. A handwritten note from her mother. If he ever contacts you, don't assume you know the whole story. Anna sat on the floor for a long time. She had spent 12 years wondering who Michael Reed was. Now she finally had a name. And somehow, that name was connected to her mother. The next morning, Anna searched the internet again. This time, she found something. A small local newspaper article from 12 years earlier. The article was about a community center that had closed after a financial dispute. And in one photograph, standing near the entrance, was a man Anna recognized from an old family picture. Her father. Anna hadn't seen her father since she was 17. For most of her life, she had believed he simply left. Her mother had never explained exactly why. She only said that some people choose to disappear when life becomes difficult. Anna had accepted that explanation because children often accept the stories adults give them. But now she was beginning to wonder. The community center, Michael Reed, her father, and the money, they were all connected somehow. Anna drove 2 hours to the town where she had grown up. The house she remembered was gone. A grocery store stood where the old neighborhood used to be. The school looked smaller. The streets looked narrower. But the community center was still there. Only the sign had changed. Anna stood across the street, staring at the building. Then she noticed a man coming through the side entrance. Gray hair, navy jacket, rectangular glasses. He stopped when he saw her. Neither of them spoke. Anna knew immediately. Michael Reed. Finally, Anna asked the question she had carried for half her life. Why? Michael looked toward the building, then back at her, and he said something that made Anna's entire understanding of her childhood begin to fall apart. Your father didn't leave because he stopped loving you. Anna felt the words before she understood them. Michael told her that 12 years earlier, her father had been working at the community center. The center was struggling financially. David had discovered that money was disappearing from an account that was supposed to help families in need. He reported it. The person responsible was someone close to the center, someone Michael had trusted. The accusation destroyed David's reputation. People believed he had taken the money himself. He lost his job. He lost friends. And eventually, he lost his family. Anna's mother had believed David was innocent. But she also knew something else. David had made a choice. Instead of publicly defending himself, He accepted the blame for something he hadn't done, because the person responsible had threatened to expose a private financial problem that could have destroyed Eleanor's life. Anna's mother had been sick. Medical bills had already buried the family in debt. If the truth came out, they could lose everything. So David disappeared, not because he didn't care, but because he believed leaving was the only way to protect them. Anna didn't know what to say. Then Michael told her the part he had never been able to forgive himself for. He had known the truth. He had known David was innocent. But he was afraid. Afraid of losing his job. Afraid of becoming the next person blamed. So he stayed silent. Years later, after David died, Michael discovered that David had left instructions. A small monthly payment. For Anna. Not as an apology. Not as charity. As a promise. Michael had continued the payments for 12 years. Until he could no longer do it. Anna asked why he had stopped. Michael reached into his wallet and pulled out an old photograph. It showed David standing outside the community center. Anna looked at the picture. Then she noticed something in the background. Her father wasn't alone. Her mother was standing beside him, and she was holding a folder. Michael explained that Eleanor had known the truth from the beginning. She had been the one who asked Michael to help Anna if anything ever happened to David. But there was one thing Anna still didn't understand. Why had her father never come back? Michael looked at the photograph. Then he finally told her. David had tried. Several times. He had written letters. He had called. But Eleanor had stopped him. Not because she hated him. Because Anna was 17. She was preparing for college. And Eleanor believed that bringing David back into their lives before Anna was ready would destroy the fragile stability they had built. Then, a few years later, Eleanor became seriously ill. David came back. But by then, Anna was away at college. And Eleanor refused to let him tell her the truth. She was afraid Anna would blame herself. So David stayed away again. Anna returned home that evening carrying the old photograph. She placed it beside her mother's silver ring. For the first time, she understood why her mother had written those words. Don't assume you know the whole story. But there was still one question Anna couldn't escape. If her father had tried to come back, why had no one told her? Why had everyone allowed her to believe he had simply walked away? And why had her mother, the person who loved her most, chosen silence? Anna realized something painful. She had spent 12 years being angry at a man who might have been waiting for her to understand him. The next morning, Anna searched for her father. She found him in a small town 3 hours away. He was living alone in a modest house with a narrow porch and a garden that had clearly been neglected. Anna stood outside for several minutes before knocking. The door opened. Her father looked older than she remembered. He didn't recognize her immediately. Then he did, and neither of them moved. Anna had imagined this moment hundreds of times. In some versions, she screamed. In others, she walked away. But standing there, she realized something. She didn't want an apology. She wanted the truth. So she asked him one question. Why didn't you come back? Her father looked down at his hands. The same hands she remembered from childhood. Weathered. Quiet. Familiar. And he said, because I thought you were better off without me. Anna didn't forgive him immediately. Real life doesn't work that way. 12 years of silence cannot disappear because of one conversation. There were still unanswered questions. There were still things her mother had chosen not to tell her. There were still choices her father had made that had hurt her. But standing there, Anna realized something. She didn't want an apology. She wanted the truth. And perhaps that was the hardest truth of all. The people she had spent years trying to understand were not heroes. They were not villains. They were people who had been afraid. People who had made mistakes. People who had loved her imperfectly. And sometimes, understanding someone doesn't mean agreeing with what they did. It simply means finally seeing the person behind the choice. Anna returned home the next morning. She placed the old photograph beside her mother's silver ring. Then she opened the separate account where she had kept every payment. For the first time, she didn't see money. She saw 12 years of silence. 12 years of guilt. 12 years of a promise made by people who didn't know how to repair what they had broken. Anna never received another payment. But she didn't need one. Because months later, when she sat across from her father at a small kitchen table, she realized that the thing she had spent 12 years searching for wasn't the identity of the stranger. It was the truth about the people she thought she already knew. And sometimes, the people we remember as villains were simply human beings who made terrible choices while trying to protect someone they loved. That doesn't erase the damage. It doesn't excuse the silence. But understanding the truth can sometimes give us something more valuable than an apology. It gives us the freedom to decide what happens next. Anna never got the childhood she thought she had lost. She couldn't change the years her father was gone. She couldn't bring her mother back to explain the choices she had made. And she couldn't undo the mistakes that had shaped all of them. But she could choose what to do with the truth. And that was enough.